vamos a estudiar los nombres de los libros de la Torá. El primero se llama Bereshit, con el Principado los cielos y tierra creó. El segundo se llama Shemot, son los nombres de los hijos de Israel que a Egipto descendieron y luego Elohim los liberó. La Torá es un regalo del Eterno para estudiar. Tiene muchos tesoros que encontrar. Vamos todos a estudiar la Torá. El tercero se llama Vaikra. El Eterno llamó a Moisés, pues quería acercarse al pueblo de Israel. El cuarto se llama Bemidbar. En la estepa Israel peregrinó y muchas pruebas pasaron ahí, pero el Eterno nunca los dejó. La Torá es un regalo del Eterno para estudiar. Tiene muchos tesoros que encontrar. Vamos todos a estudiar la Torá. La Torá es un regalo del Eterno para estudiar. Tiene muchos tesoros que encontrar. Vamos todos a estudiar la Torá. El quinto se llama Devarim, son las palabras que el Eterno repitió a una nueva generación, y así en su tierra pudieran habitar. La Torá es un regalo del Eterno para estudiar. Tiene muchos tesoros que encontrar. Vamos todos a estudiar la Torá. La Torá es un regalo del Eterno para estudiar. Tiene muchos tesoros que encontrar. Vamos todos a estudiar la Torá. Vamos todos a estudiar la Torá. Vamos todos a estudiar la Torá.
Llevo un nuevo niño. Presents my little Manna.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
morning, afternoon, good morning, afternoon, or night in the place where you are watching us, little friends. Um, we hope you are having a blessed Shabbat with your family. Today is our fifth delivery of, of the series called My Little Manna. And thank you for participating. Let's greet the little friends and their families before the announcements. Shabbat Shalom to Shirley Miranda, Joel Miranda, Valentina Lopez, the sister Violeta from El lado femenino de la Biblia, Mari Vázquez, Susana Real y Alberto Lucía, Samuel B. Acevedo, Amada S., Teresa Serrano, Luz Mergir, María Grivarja, Juan Carlos López, Wilmer Rocha, María M., Jackie Luz, Jessica Marroquín, Palmira Delgado Vega, Doyla Barley Fords, María Carmen Chulula, Familia Delgado Belga, Mari Morquecho, Edeline y Dayelín Gutiérrez Toviño, Amada S., Juan Carlos López, Johanna Acevedo, and Alicia Luna. Also those brothers who greet us from Facebook, which are Marie Carmen Chulula, Kelly J.P. Ledesma, Wilmer Javier Rocha, and all of those who will listen to the recording. Thank you for being here and participating with us. And remember, with the Eternal's will, we will be doing a live stream every first Shabbat of each new biblical month. For now, we have already started the 6th month of the biblical calendar, and we are approaching to fall appointments. How exciting, isn't it? Little friends, are you guys excited? Well, you can contact us through social media on Facebook, Instagram, and on the website of www.cielosnuevosytierranueva.org on Niños section. Also, add the contact number on WhatsApp and Telegram so that you can send us your photos and videos and tell us from which country or city you see us. Our number is +52 33 28 24 91 85. Well, friends, in today's delivery, we will be called Sing the Messiah and Abraham and his descendants. For now, let's begin with a prayer. Go ahead, Johan.
Shabbat Shalom, little friends. Now we will continue with the prayer. Eternal Father, we thank you for this Shabbat that is of much blessing, in which the little friends and us will learn from the study of today. We ask you to guide us with your Ruach to be able to understand the study of today. We also pray for you to help our brothers and sisters who are in need. We ask you this in the name of Yeshua, our Messiah. Amen. Go ahead, Anthony.
Shalom, little friends. Today we will study chapter
10 of Genesis. Here are the descendants of the children of Noah. It is a chapter filled with great events that changed the order of the world from their city, religions, dogmas. Languages began to be founded. From Shem, Cam, and Japhet, people began to multiply on earth. This is how important men appeared with great events that transcended until our times, such as constructions that have currently been the object of conflict between nations, because according to the scholars, they have many codes that would reveal in these times among the ziggurat of Ur and many stelae with inscriptions according to them, of futuristic prophecies that whoever interprets them correctly will dominate the world. One of the outstanding men of those times is Nimrod, son of Cush, a bold and arrogant giant hunter, who founded several cities, Babel, Nineveh, and several more. Also, Canaan was a man where the Canaanites came from. This is my little manna for today, little friends. Go ahead, Yoel.
Yeah. Shalom, little friends. I'm Joel Haim, and let's continue with the chapter 11 of Bereshit. Let's see in verse 1. Now the entire earth had the same language with the same vocabulary. When they traveled towards the east, they found a beautiful plain in the land of Shinar, and settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them until they are hard." So they used bricks for stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city, with a tower whose top reaches into heaven. So let's make a name for ourselves, or else we will be scattered over the face of the whole land." Then Adonai came down to see the city, and the tower that the sons of man had built. But Adonai said, "Look, the people are one and all of them have the same language. So this is what they have begun to do. Now nothing they plan to do will be impossible. Come, let's go down and confuse their language there, so that they will not understand each other's language." So Adonai scattered them from there over the face of the entire land, and they stopped building the city. This is why it is named Babel, because Adonai confused the language of the entire world there, and from there Adonai scattered scattered them over the face of the entire world. Little friends, hence the name of Babel, which means confusion. That Eternal knew what they have really wanted to do, so why he confused them. So that's why he confused them. However, there was a man who was very bad. That was Nimrod, a rebellious man against the Eternal Father, who made an empire. They began to build a great tower to console the idols, as they also tried to protect themselves from another flood, which demonstrated their rebellion. But the Eternal separated and dispersed and divided them by confusing them with various languages. And since they no longer understood each other, they left. They were scattered throughout the earth, and so then the different nations and languages began. But until today their attitude of disobedience and
idolatry remains. For this reason, little friends, we must continue striving day by day to serve the Eternal without rebelling against Him and His commandments, moving away from those attitudes of disobedience and all kinds of idolatry, paganism, and darkness of this world. And this has been my little manna for today. Until next time, go ahead, Angie.
Thank you, Yoel. Shalom, little friends. My name is Angie, and now we are going to learn more about a man to whom the Eternal gave a great promise. We are going to talk about Abram, known as the father of faith. In chapter 12, the Eternal tells Abram, "Get out of your country, from your kindred, and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great, and you will be a blessing." So Abram went as Elohim had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Little friends, these verses teach us that Abram was obedient to the Eternal. He did not question or doubt about the will of the Eternal. He had confidence in the Father that, if he obeyed, he would receive the promise of being a great and numerous nation, and also a recognized man among the nations. That is why Abram is known as the father of faith, because he was a man of integrity before the Eternal. He obeyed and fully trusted his Mighty One. As we can see, little friends, in some way we are also tested like Abram every day, when under the instruction of the Eternal, we leave behind our relatives with the traditions that were inherited to us at some point. This happens because we trust in His perfect will for our lives, and we look towards His future promise in eternity. Later, in the following verses, we see how Abram obeyed the Eternal and traveled to different places until he reached the land of Canaan, where the Eternal told him, "To your offspring I will give this land." This was the promised land that the Israelites strove to inherit, and it was a land where milk and honey flowed. That is, it was a land where they could grow many rich fruits to eat. It is very important to know that the Creator was not going to dispossess the people to give them the land just like that for nothing. The Torah says that the Canaanite sins were increasing and they were going to do very bad things. That's why the Creator would throw them out of that land and give it to Abraham's offspring, hoping that they would fulfill His will. Through the life of Abram, we learn about many prophetic shadows of what would happen to the people of Israel. It is through Abram that the Father reveals or shows His perfect plan of redemption, not only for His people, but also for the nations. For in Him were to be blessed all the nations of the earth. Little friends, let's learn about the life of Abram, who teaches us the importance of faith in the life of the believer. When Abram was called, there was no complaint or doubt in him. In that same way, we must have confidence in our Father, knowing that the Eternal has better plans for us, and that our security in Him is in Him. Our faith in the Father and Yeshua is shown when we fully trust in the Father and strive to fulfill His Torah. We must always be strengthened by the Eternal, having a living faith like Abram's. Hazak Hazak, Talmidei of Yeshua, let us follow the example of our father Abraham. Well, little friends, this is my little manna for today.
Shabbat Shalom, friends. My name is Joan. Let's continue studying Bereshit chapter 14. In chapter 13, we learned how Lot and Abram parted ways. Since Lot chose to go on the path to the fruitful valley, but this valley was in the direction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Evil people with evil kings lived there, as well as the nations around them. We see how they began to wage war with each other, and Lot, who was already dwelling in Sodom, was taken along with his belongings. But one of the people who escaped went and told Abram everything that had happened with Lot. Hearing what happened to his nephew Lot, Abram who was a righteous man, acted quickly, and 318 of his men fought to free his nephew and his goods, as well as the woman and the people. After Abram recovers the goods that have been taken and rescues his nephew Lot, Melchizedek goes out to meet Abram, who is returning from battle. He offers him bread and wine, and he blesses Abram, and Abram gives him 10% of all the goods that he had recovered to Melchizedek. The king of Sodom asked Abram to only return his people, and Abram could keep all the goods that belonged to him. But Abram tells him that he promised before the Eternal that he would not take anything that belonged to Sodom. So the king would not say, Abram became rich because he kept my goods. And Abram did not accept any good from the king, except for the food that his men had already eaten. Little friends, we know that today there are very bad men who fight for the riches of this world. So we must not follow the example of those bad kings who stole things from another people to become richer. We should follow the example of Abram, who was a righteous and went to rescue his nephew, who should not accept the riches of the king of Sodom, who represents the evil one, since we would be accepting that he is making us rich. Little friends, we must settle for what we have and what the Eternal gives us, since we know that the Eternal is the only one who can enrich us, and if it is in his will. Right, little friends? Well, this is my little manna of today. Go ahead, Tito.
Thanks, Joan. Shabbat Shalom, little friends. My name is Tito, and now we are going to learn about the impressive promise that the Eternal gave to Abram. Abram did not have a descendant yet, and he was worried because he thought his inheritor would be a servant of his named Eliezer from Damascus. But then we see in chapter 15, verse 4 to 5, the Eternal says to Abram, "This one is not your inheritor, but he who comes from your own body is your inheritor." So he brought him outside and said, "Look now towards the sky and count the stars if you are able to count them." And he said to him, "This is going to be the number of your descendants." Little friends, do you think we could count the stars of the sky? The Eternal gives Abram a great promise, and the most important thing is that he delivered the Eternal, and that is why the Eternal accepted him as righteousness. The Father wanted to assure Abram that his promise was very serious, so he asks Abram to bring some animals. Do you know why? Because in ancient times, the way to seal pacts was with blood, in order to demonstrate that it was a very serious commitment. And this we see that Abram falls into a deep sleep, and there the Father tells him that he would give the promised land to his descendants. But before that, they were going to be slaves for 400 years. We see later in verse 17, "And it came to pass when the sun had set, there was a thick darkness, and behold, there appeared a smoking furnace, and a torch of fire that passed between the halves of the animals." Little friends, notice here that only the Eternal passed between the parts and put Abram to sleep. In this, there is a great message. The Father was the one who promised to fulfill the pact, but he would not condemn Abram to death if he did not fulfill his part, only the Lord would shed his blood through his son Yeshua so that we could be included in the covenant that our father made to Abram. This would fulfill the promise that is found in Genesis 12:3 that says, "And in you the nations on the earth will be blessed." This is my little manna. Go ahead, Samuel.
Thanks, Tito. To review this delivery, we have an activity. Remember that we will leave in the description box down below the link to a PDF with the instructions so you can complete it with the help of Mom and Dad. And don't forget to share your photos and videos of the process and its results. Little friends, we now say goodbye. Today we have finished the live broadcast in English, but remember to be attentive for our next delivery of my little manna. Well, it's Shabbat, a day to rest, and that we can dedicate to the study of the Torah. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom!
The children come when they come to him. With the Master Yeshua we are going to learn. The children come when they come to him, blowing shofar in obedience to him. For the kingdom of the heavens for the children's is. Let's to sing, let's to sing, let's to sing to Adonai. Let's to serve, and they're not Elohim. It's no right to walk and never depart, to learn since a child and never to lose my faith. For the kingdom of the heavens for the children's is. Children come and come to him. With the Master Yeshua we are going to learn. The children come and come to him, blowing shofar in obedience to him. For the kingdom of the heavens for the children's is. Let's to sing, let's to sing, let's to sing to Adonai.